Imagine crossing an invisible threshold, a border where the reality you once knew dissolves, giving way to something deeper, more mysterious, that slowly comes into view. It was exactly on this journey that Dolores Cannon became a trailblazer, guiding thousands through the hidden universe of the superconscious mind. Her revolutionary technique of hypnotic regression didn't just unveil past lives, it opened gateways to a vast landscape of information, where time, space, and even the boundaries of what we call reality seem to bend to the laws of the spirit. Today, inspired by Cannon's relentless quest, we invite you to join us as we explore the question she received more than any other in her decades of research. Is there truly a safe place on Earth? Be prepared. The answer reaches far beyond maps, coordinates, or simple survival strategies. This investigation, much like a documentary or a timeless communal conversation, will confront the biggest myths, place science side by side with ancient wisdom, and reveal surprising truths anchored in Dolores Cannon's teachings, now enriched by the most recent findings from science, history, culture, and spirituality. Together, let's discover why, at the threshold of tremendous planetary transformation, the roadmap to safety is not only about geography, but also about the energy you carry within yourself. And even more importantly, why did Dolores Cannon believe that each of us has a fundamental role in shaping humanity's new sanctuary? We are living through times when the unexpected knocks at our doors with an uncommon force. Headlines about environmental crises and global conflicts travel faster than ever before. Entire families, both young and old, are left asking, is there really any place on this planet that is safe? What land is strong enough to withstand it all? Where is security possible when chaos seems to surround us on every side? Amidst this whirlwind of doubt and uncertainty, there was one woman who dared to cross the limits of human experience, seeking out answers in places where few had ever ventured. Dolores Cannon devoted her life to the study of hypnotic regression, diving into memories, into levels of consciousness, into ancestral stories, to uncover knowledge you'd never find on the news or in any atlas. With her curious and sensitive spirit, Dolores listened to thousands of people from every imaginable background, every faith, and all cultures. And, interestingly, when the central question always surfaced, where should I go? Where will safety truly be? The answer was never an address or a city, never a particular mountain. Instead, the messages that came through were far deeper, even unsettling and transformative. As Dolores often explained, the key never lay in a physical location, but in a state of being. In her own words, many people want to know where to run when they hear prophecies or predictions. But what the sources tell me is that it's not about a spot on the map. The true refuge is a frequency. It's the energy you cultivate within. Just imagine the impact of a revelation like that. Instead of a golden ticket to distant lands, we're offered an invitation to inner alignment, a personal transformation powerful enough to alter the world around us. With every session, Dolores began to notice subtle patterns. Some stories did point to regions on Earth with a particularly special energy, places described as naturally protective, soothing fear, and raising consciousness. Many of these testimonies resonated with indigenous legends, ancient stories from alchemists, and even contemporary scientific research into magnetic fields and planetary energies. These were not mere coincidences, but potential signs that there truly is something beyond what we can see with our eyes. A higher logic, an intelligence within the Earth itself, responding to the vibrations of those who inhabit it. But why has this urgent desire to find a place of shelter followed humanity since the very beginning? Where does our belief in hidden paradises, sacred refuges, and lands that could remain untouched when the rest of the world falls apart actually come from? Collective fear, shaped and passed down through generations facing catastrophe and profound change, created myths, legends, and dreams of salvation. Take a look back. Entire civilizations passed along stories of promised lands, of cities hidden among mountains, of mysterious islands that would reveal themselves only at the right moment. Dolores Cannon understood that behind the search for the perfect land lies a far deeper quest, The search for meaning, for purpose, for a reconnection with something we once knew but have forgotten. And what if these universal yearnings aren't just fantasy, but rather clues to something real? What if, at the intersection of science, ancestral memory, and vibrational awareness, lies the very key that humanity has been seeking for so long? This is what we're about to explore. Get ready to cross the boundaries of myth, to understand how prophecies and stories about refuge have shaped our cultures across the globe. And, most importantly, how Dolores' insights reveal that sometimes the safest place on Earth might just be the last place you'd expect. And, who knows, this journey might just be getting started, because our next step will take us directly to the heart of humanity's greatest mysteries and prophecies. Since the dawn of civilization, the search for safe refuge has spanned eras and cultures. During times of peace and chaos alike, our stories have always led us to legends and prophecies about safe lands, sheltered harbors, hidden sanctuaries, places untouched by any storm or disaster. No matter which continent or what era, our ancestors spoke of invisible cities in the mountains, lost continents like Atlantis, secret kingdoms such as Shambhala, or islands that would appear only when danger drew close. This tradition endures because, when collective fear grows and the feeling of insecurity thickens, our minds instinctively seek out secret maps, magical formulas, cryptic messages hidden in fragments of ancient prophecy. The urge to escape, to find a place of absolute protection, activates an ancestral memory embedded deep in our DNA. We long to survive, but more than that, we need to belong to something bigger than ourselves, a project of renewal, a fresh start. By diving deeply into these questions, Dolores Cannon began to see a fascinating pattern. Across sessions with people of different languages, backgrounds, and faiths, the same persistent anxiety would surface. Where should we go, Dolores? Where is true safety to be found? But the answers that emerged from the superconscious often surprised even her. Rather than exact maps or conventional geographic locations, what surfaced were images, sensations, and messages about vibration, consciousness, and collective intention. As if the real protection wasn't found in stone walls or underground bunkers, but in a kind of vibrational resonance, one capable of repelling danger, transforming circumstances, and opening up new pathways even when chaos reigned. Dolores began to record stories from people who, in attempting to access memories of past global catastrophes, described groups of survivors who made it not by hiding, but by maintaining a completely different mental and emotional state. These people radiated peace, compassion, and solidarity, and, in some inexplicable way, seemed to pass through even the greatest storms, whether on the physical or the energetic plane, untouched. Interestingly, many of these stories mirrored spiritual traditions across the world. Indigenous tribes told of an inner land. Shamans conducted rituals to help their people vibrate at a frequency of protection. Buddhist monks in Tibet spoke of enclaves of light, invisible to most but real to those attuned to them. And this is where a powerful revelation from the latest research comes in. Scientists, though they may not use the same language, are beginning to study something Dolores brought to light in her sessions. There is a deep direct link between our collective emotions and the quality of our shared environment. Studies on the so-called collective consciousness field, on how fear or hope within large groups can influence reality, are showing that our feelings, emotions, and intentions truly affect the world, changing matter, weather, results, and perhaps even the fabric of reality itself. So, if the secret to true refuge is connected to the frequency you vibrate, could there be places on Earth where this energy field is naturally more stable, more harmonious? And beyond legend, what if the Earth itself, in its physical and energetic nature, holds clues to our safety? Could it be possible to map out special zones, lands that are nearly immune to global panic, thanks to their magnetic force, their unique history, or their invisible role as guardians of a special energy? That is what we'll begin to explore now, diving into the surprising convergence of science, land, and consciousness. Get ready, because in the next part, you'll discover how breakthroughs in the study of Earth's magnetic field, ancient traditions, and modern experiences could transform your understanding of safety completely, and maybe reveal secret gateways to a new way of living on this planet. Over time, the march of science seemed to follow a path that diverged from ancient legends and humanity's spiritual quest for sanctuary. Rational thinking declared, safety is a question of geography, climate, and material protection. But in recent decades, science itself has begun to look deeper and, unexpectedly, run into mysteries as ancient as the stories Dolores Cannon heard in her sessions. Researchers studying the Earth's electromagnetic field, physicists, geologists, and other specialists, have started to identify fascinating planetary anomalies, areas with extraordinarily stable magnetic fields, energy vortices, regions where the land seems, quite literally, to sing, vibrate, and mysteriously regenerate itself. There are places that have remained immune to devastating earthquakes for millennia, that boast unique species, remarkable longevity, and a natural world that endures through the ages. It's precisely in these details that the stories of survival, transformation, and protection, described by Dolores, find surprising echoes in modern science. Take, for example, the phenomenon known as the Schumann resonance, the gentle pulse of the Earth itself. Once considered a scientific curiosity, it is now being studied as a potential protective field, a force that shapes our physical health, mental state, and even the emotional balance of entire societies. Just imagine, regions of the Earth whose energetic frequency is so harmonized with the human body that they amplify our vitality and clarity, helping to break destructive patterns. Recent research in places like the heart of Australia, especially around Uluru, reveals signs of just such a geological and vibrational shield. There, the magnetic field is so unique that scientists are puzzled by the almost supernatural stability of the land, while ancient peoples have, for thousands of years, declared it the navel of the world, the very place where the planet's vital essence is continually renewed. Dolores recorded in her sessions descriptions nearly identical to those shared by Aboriginal elders, visions of lights dancing over the plains, overwhelming feelings of protection, and dreams where ancestral voices guided people toward the energetic heart of the planet. None of this is coincidence, but rather a subtle dialogue between ancient wisdom and the frontiers of science. Geophysicists now study rare minerals, crystalline underground fields, and the role of ancient vegetation in preserving resilient environments. Neuroscientists observe how collective meditation and rituals of connection elicit measurable changes in the earth, in water, and even in the atmosphere. Suddenly, the idea of a safe haven is no longer only a state of mind. It's revealed as a real physical phenomenon, a rare meeting point of body, mind, and planet. And if some locations really do function as energetic batteries, perhaps therein lies the secret not just to survival, but to flourishing amidst global uncertainty. But is this protective energy simply a gift of the land? Or is there something more? A profound memory etched in the soil? Invisible marks from the past that still shape the strength of every region? The answer might reveal why some places feel so powerful, while others remain burdened by unresolved, difficult histories still in need of healing. In the next part, we'll open the doors to perhaps the most surprising terrain of all, how our relationship with collective pain, with ancient traumas and the memories etched into the very earth, can determine much more about our destiny than any physical barrier. Get ready, because now our journey takes us into an even more mysterious layer, where earth and soul are inseparable. If we start to see the planet not just as physical matter, but as a living organism, one that records everything occurring on its surface and deep within its core, a powerful realization dawns. Land and history are bound by an invisible thread, where joy, respect, celebration of life, and harmony have ruled. The earth flourishes, sustaining and protecting all who call it home. But where sorrow, destruction, and violence have accumulated, the soil bears deep scars, marks that do not vanish with time, moving underneath like groundwater, influencing cultures, ecosystems, and even the destinies of future generations. Dolores Cannon, when discussing the great planetary changes she encountered in her work, often found herself faced with memories of ancient wars, once fertile lands now barren, regions scarred by sorrow and exile. She revealed, through deep states of consciousness, that people could access not only their own experiences, but also the collective aches and traumas imprinted in the planet's vibrational record. This idea is echoed in native wisdom the world over. To indigenous peoples, each forest, stone, or river holds the memory of what has taken place, whether it was a healing ritual, a creative birth, or a devastating battle. Modern science is only just beginning to validate this perception through new archaeological and environmental research. Studies show that areas less touched by conflict or tragic history possess richer soil, more abundant biodiversity, and greater resilience to extreme events. By contrast, lands soaked for centuries in war, exploitation, and suffering often seem to carry what some researchers now call a legacy of trauma, an information field passed down through generations, shaping behaviors, and even the emergence of disease. Curiously, whenever the search for refuge intensifies, those same sacred regions, named in old traditions, always reappear. Uluru in Australia stands as a nearly mystical example. Considered by the Aboriginal peoples as the dream of the world, a living library where all original knowledge lies in a form of energy and myth. Scientists marvel at the resilience of this place. Geologically, Uluru defies explanation, remaining virtually untouched by disasters for hundreds of millions of years. Compared to other supposedly safe regions, such as vast deserts, Greenland's glaciers, or the untouched forests of Brazil, few places rival Australia's unique combination of physical stability, genetic diversity, and ancestral memory. It's as if this land truly serves as an original database, preserving the primordial codes of Earth in their purest form. And in Dolores's words, Uluru is not just a rock, it's a battery, a core of regeneration and protection, guarding the original blueprint of the planet. This doesn't mean Uluru is the only possible refuge, but it does point to an important clue. Places where the world's memory has been honored, protected, and celebrated tend to become centers of strength and renewal. Yet, no matter how powerful the energy of a special place, nowhere on Earth is immune to old patterns if people insist on carrying what should have been transformed long ago. Dolores often taught that the new world would not be built only on the Earth's surface, but first and foremost within each person ready to heal old wounds, to release anger and fear, make space for forgiveness, and truly claim their own light. And it's from this precise point that we set out now, understanding that even if one lives on the most protected ground on the planet, only those who have built, or are willing to build, a true sanctuary within themselves are able to flourish and remain safe. Next, we turn our gaze inward. We will explore how awakening our inner refuge not only redefines what protection truly means, but has the power to change the destiny of humanity and the Earth itself. When every search for safe ground, for special places, or for blessed soil leads to a single answer, the real refuge is within. It can sound almost too simple, but behind this message lies a kind of consciousness technology that is only now beginning to be understood by both science and spiritual traditions alike. Dolores Cannon never tired of repeating, "You may be in the safest place on the planet. If you don't vibrate with peace, no land will be able to protect you." Recent studies in neuroscience, energy psychology, and quantum physics point to a remarkable truth. Internal states of calm, compassion, and presence not only impact the individual body, they generate waves of influence that ripple outward. Hearts, synchronized in positive intention, create measurable effects of coherence, capable of harmonizing entire environments and influencing health, emotional climates, and even unexpected interactions in nature. For millennia, ancient traditions have understood this. Meditation, prayer, rituals of silence and song have always been used not just for personal protection, but to strengthen entire communities, to guard villages from collapse, and to ward off disease. Through her sessions, Dolores observed that when groups worked collectively to maintain a high vibration, they were literally bypassed by waves of destruction during great planetary crises. It's as if an intelligent, energetic bubble formed around them, nullifying dangers and inspiring solutions that would previously have seemed unimaginable. This isn't to deny the existence of challenges. Suffering exists, catastrophes occur, but before each hardship there is always a choice: to become paralyzed by fear, or to access deeper layers of potential. Every time someone chooses forgiveness, gratitude, or turns resentment into learning and solidarity, new doors open. Refuge then becomes less a place and more an expansive state in which everyone is welcome and protected. When Dolores said, "The future is like a house with open doors," she was inviting us to create these environments of healing and elevation, first within, and then among relationships and shared spaces. It makes little difference whether you are in Australia, Brazil, in a large city, or isolated in the countryside. The vibrational power of an awakened person turns their home into a sanctuary, and their presence into an anchor for many. At the heart of it all, the quest for safe ground has always truly been a call for each of us to become the guardians of our own light, awareness, and responsibility. In the midst of external chaos, the greatest force for protection is the one that lights up from within, radiates out to the world, and inspires others to do the same. It's not about utopia. It's about daily practice, emotional discipline, courage, and humility. The real secret has always been learning to create islands of coherence wherever we are. But this brings us to an inevitable question. If each person is a guardian of their inner sanctuary, is there a collective calling too? Could it be that, as many people vibrate together in harmony, they might create new blessed lands and new stories for the world, actually shifting the destiny of the Earth? Stay with us, because now we'll witness how this kind of consciousness, when shared, may become the key for a quantum leap in human evolution and prepare the planet for its next great cycle of healing and regeneration. As more people awaken to the power of the inner refuge, something extraordinary begins to happen across the planet. Energy moves in silent waves, visible only to those who pay close attention. Whole cities shift in vibration, homes transform into harbors of welcome, and entire neighborhoods begin to show signs of regeneration, peace, and even phenomena that once seemed impossible. Studies already show that where collective consciousness rises, violence rates fall, prosperity increases, creativity flourishes, and, surprisingly, the natural environment rapidly responds, presenting fewer disasters, greater ecological balance, and even unique microclimates. Throughout her journey, Dolores Cannon witnessed exactly this in small communities around the world. Wherever groups gathered to vibrate in genuine peace, to connect respectfully with the earth and set elevated intentions, a kind of activation took place within the territory itself. Regions once forgotten are now emerging as zones of light, points of reference for those seeking shelter, not just physical, but emotional, psychic, and vibrational. Refuge leaps from the soil into the invisible fields of consciousness, and there, new realities are constructed, almost as if by magic. The secret of these protected lands has never been only in the ground itself, but has always lived in the subtle meeting between people, their intentions, and the energy they choose to manifest together in the world. It's no coincidence that even areas considered ordinary by geologists and historians begin to transform deeply when they are cared for by awakened collectives, groups conscious of their responsibility and their capacity to regenerate everything around them. As collective awakening spreads, old paradigms fall away. People no longer wait for a savior or fear the apocalyptic news. Instead, a new generation arises, one that knows every action, every choice, every thought is a building block for lands of peace yet to be created. When crowds decide to let go of fear and isolation and see themselves as living parts of the planetary body, everything changes. Ascension ceases to be just a dream or a privilege for the few. It becomes the natural result for those truly committed to making the world their sacred home. Now, the central question is no longer, where is the safest ground? The new challenge is, how do we become together conscious guardians of the lands we inhabit? How do we expand this field of protection and regeneration until it touches the whole planet, turning every patch of Earth into a living vision of paradise? In this final step of our journey, you'll discover that it doesn't matter where you are physically. Every decision you make here and now can echo across borders, leaving imprints of rebirth and hope for generations to come. Get ready for the ending, my friends. For sometimes our greatest legacy begins precisely where fear ends, and choosing the light becomes irreversible. We have reached the end of this path, but curiously, it's here that everything truly begins. Because if there is a real inheritance to pass on to future generations, it's not necessarily found in possessions, certainties, or old maps. It lives within every choice we make, in every moment when we dare to be light, even in the midst of storms. Imagine for a moment if all of us, yes, everyone, had the courage to be guardians of the ground we stand on, the thoughts we nurture, and the relationships we build each day. What if every neighborhood, every city, every small circle around the planet gradually became a nest of hope, a magnetic field of protection, a living echo of that ancient dreamland, not just to survive, but to flourish in unity and higher purpose? Dolores Cannon, and many before and after her, showed us that true strength has always resided in individual choices, magnified by the power of the collective. When we align intention, emotion, and action, we create a wave impossible to stop, an atmosphere charged with possibilities, an open invitation to healing and new beginnings. For anyone who crosses our path, whether in person or through the subtle resonances that traverse space and time. Now the call is simple, direct, and undeniable. What legacy will you choose to leave behind? Will you repeat old stories of fear and separation? Or will you become the spark of a new cycle of peace and rebuilding? This isn't just philosophy, it's a practical, daily, tangible decision. The safety we seek outside always begins within. The new world, though it may seem distant, takes shape with every step of awareness, respect, forgiveness, and collaboration we are bold enough to take. It may not be easy or immediate, but every great transformation begins this way, with invisible seeds, silent decisions, casual meetings, glances that convey, together, we can. No matter where you are, if you choose right now to act as a guardian of your inner territory, a part of the world is already being reborn through you. And as others hear this same calling, feel this hope awaken, and also decide to commit, the old question, where is the safest ground on the planet, loses its meaning. The safest ground is always the one you help bless, transform, and protect, wherever it may be. And so the cycle begins again. And who knows, as we spread this awareness, new stories will arise, stories even more extraordinary, worthy of being told for generations. Because, at the deepest level, the true legacy is to be part of a humanity that finally understood. When each person chooses to be a safe harbor, the entire planet becomes the paradise we all dreamed of. So, after this journey, tell me, what's stirring inside you right now? What new seeds of hope, courage, or responsibility have awakened as this story unfolded before your eyes, your ears, and your heart? And if, at this exact moment, you could choose a single action to help co-create this new world, what would it be? Maybe it's about forgiving someone from your past. Maybe it's having a hard but necessary conversation with someone you love. Maybe it's planting a tree, meditating in silence, or, who knows, gathering with others to form a circle of protection and light in a place that once held only distrust. The truth is, every step counts. Every elevated intention, no matter how small, is like a stone skipping across a silent lake. The ripples spread, traveling distances, touching lives you'll never know. Right now, you are part of this quiet network of transformation. Remember, the future is built here, in the present, one conscious act at a time. So here's my invitation, and it couldn't be clearer or more immediate. Carry this message forward. Share these words with anyone you think might need a little inspiration. Form your own circle, at home, at work, in your neighborhood. Spread hope, cultivate active kindness, be a safe harbor, even if it's just by truly listening to someone. And before I close, let me leave you with 3 key questions for you to hold close and share with the world. What legacy do I want to leave through my choices today? How can I be a safe ground for myself and for those who cross my path? Right now, am I ready to accept the invitation to co-create the world I dream of? Or will I wait, hoping someone else will do it for me? Thank you, truly, for your listening, your openness, and most of all, for your willingness to keep choosing light, even when the world looks dark. You are an essential part of this rebirth. Without you, transformation loses power. With you, the possible paradise is already being born. Thank you. May your path always be blessed, illuminated, and wherever you are, may you never forget. The safest ground is the one where your true presence lives. See you soon, and may our journey together continue.